I'm going to record this session. So, guys, can you see my screen?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can.
thank you. Guys, yesterday, you didn't receive the recording session, right? So, Dharma, do you have any questions yesterday? You there, right? Yesterday session.
Just half an hour back, I got that video. I have to
Okay. Oh,
I
okay.
have to look into the video, and I will contact you later.
Yeah,
After.
fine. Check it actually because this is an important session. This RAML session is an important session because whenever you are trying to expose your REST calls, right? REST services, right? So first you have to, based on our requirement, we have to write this RAML first. So if you write RAML correctly, so then almost your 30% of code done. So that much of importance is there. Just I was saying clearly, so what was the importance of this RAML? So we can share the documentation to the client, whoever consuming our services. Another one is we can keep it a validations actually. So suppose so many people are trying to, suppose unknown guy is trying to hit the request, right? Or else a different payload. Suppose we are expecting a JSON, but whoever consuming our service, so unfortunately is trying to hit the XML payload, right? So that type of validations inside a JSON also there is a mandatory fields, optional fields. We discussed clearly about that. So even return types also we can validate it. So that much of importance there in the REST calls for this RAML. Okay. So yesterday we discussed about without validation and all. So now we are discussing about validation. So Reena, actually go through that recording yesterday session, how to, what was this editor and all, I was explaining clearly. So we have to sign up for this API manager. So this 1 month trial version is there. So we can sign up for this. So then we will get this option, API manager and runtime manager and exchange. These are all options we'll get it. If you see API manager, so there is an option to create the API. Okay. So we'll give the versions and all. So if you're in a first phase, we'll give the version 1.0. Tomorrow we'll get another phase. We can keep on adding the versions like that. So we can update the version. So this is the thing. Once you create the API, this is the button to create the API. So API name, version will give it. So remaining two are optional fields. So description and all we can give it actually what was the exactly that payload, what was the purpose of that, why you are writing that, we can give it a description and all. So next one is here I created already. So yesterday clearly I was showing how to create an ML. If once you create that API, you will get like this version and all. So I'm just trying to click that created organization means created API. So we'll get like this once we created successfully. So then we'll get like this. So organization is my API name. Okay, RAML. So next one is here. Wherever you want to edit, you can edit it, guys. Here, everywhere edit symbol is there. You can edit it. So edit API designer. Once you are trying to edit API designer, so if you open the this window, this is the editor provided by Anypoint Manager itself. So this is provided by MuleSoft. So here it will give clear suggestions also. It is RAML is nothing but we are writing the code using YAML, guys, YAML. So that is one of the language. You are using YAML technology. We are writing the coding here. Okay. Yesterday clearly I was saying like what are the parts in the RAML. So first we have to write the root part. Until here this is a root part, guys. So until here root part. So next one is the resource part. What was the resource you are trying to expose outside? So that is the resource name. After that, what type of methods you are expecting? So suppose get method or else post method or else put method or else delete method. So based on our client requirement, we are trying to expose that particular method, right? So that is a type of method is also part of the RAML. After that, inside method, right? So we have a query parameters are there, we have a URI parameters are there. So like that, based on our requirement, we will keep it actually. If you see here in the under get method, right? So get method means we are trying to fetch the information from the target system or server. So we're not posting any data in this case. So in this, whenever you're trying to get the data from the server or else a target system, we're passing some query parameters also. If you see here, there is a transaction ID is one query parameter, and one is sender is one more query parameter, and client is one more query parameter, like that. So there is a different query parameters. Okay, so we'll go through one by one clearly. So similarly in this once that is done, right, that get method is done, right, we are giving clearly what type of response also. Once that is done, so if your success, your get request got success, you are giving 200 status code. In the 200 status code, so we are giving example also, guys. Yesterday I didn't show any example. So means example means once we got the success 200 status code, what was a data we have to give it. So that type of data I'm trying to show in the flow itself, I mean in the RAML itself. I'll show you that part. We'll go one by one. This, that is a high level of that. So if you see here, this is the editor. So if you click control space, we'll get the suggestions also. Once you are writing something, clearly it will show us actually. So this is the advantage. If you compare to the Anypoint Studio, if you are writing Anypoint Studio, this RAML, you can there also you can write it. But if you are familiar with this RAML, you can write there itself directly. But so we need suggestions, right, while writing a code. So what are the parameters are there and all. So for that, it's better to write in API manager itself. API manager itself. So if you are more, I mean, after familiar this, then we can push to this. I mean,
Venkat,
yeah, tell me.
is that a full screen or?
Yeah, I kept a full screen only. Can't you see?
Uh,
I just keep it a full screen, guys. Can you see? I just click it once. Now, can you see full screen, right? I'm just showing only RAML part. Let's
yeah,
say
okay,
false
okay.
also, I'm just minimizing. Okay. So here, this part is until this, there is a root part. In this root part, if you see here, extra things also are there compared to yesterday thing. Yesterday I just shown only basic level, so that this is a deep level thing. Even security also there here. So this is the first one is title. So first one is RAML 0.8. That is a version of the RAML. Now 1.0 also came. This is the 0.8. Still people are using 0.8 only. So next one is title. So whatever the title based on your application, right? You can keep it your application title based on your naming conventions, application naming conventions. Next one is version 1.0. So we should maintain the version, guys, because tomorrow if you're working in a second phase, third phase, like that, we have to keep it versions updation, right? So we have to update the version also. We'll get the dynamically that version also. So next one is base URI. So we can keep it a base URI. We discussed yesterday what was the use of that exactly. So next one is security schemes, guys. This is a new thing. Yesterday I didn't keep it there. So these are security schemes. So here two types of authentication you can give it. So here I mentioned two types of authentication. One is basic authentication, guys. So whoever trying to consume our services, we can keep it a basic authentication. It means from only for our service, we can keep it a basic authentication. Basic authentication means nothing but user ID password. Whenever they will keep it, they will enter user ID password while hitting our service. That time we can able to allow our mule service. Okay, that is normal basic authentication. Another one is, so there is one more tag I'll try. So under that we have to keep it all the security related thing. So here we can keep it. So OAuth authentication related thing also for our service. So here I just keep it a secured. Ours is secure. So here each and everything what was the use of that, I will keep it a description also. So the description is a tag in the AML thing. So we can keep it what was the use of that actually. Some request requires authentication. So that is a use of traits, that is a tag in the AML. So we have to mention secured. That we have to use it below, guys. Whatever the tags you have to mention, right? Under security schemas, under that we have to keep it a basic. and the traits, so we have to keep it as secure. These two things we have to use wherever the method we have to mention, right? In the method we have to keep it these two things. If you observe here, uh, if you observe here below, org is the resource name, right? Source name. How will, so here if you observe it, we are trying to frame a URL, right? Slash org, it is the part of the URL, it is the part of whatever you are exposing rest URL, right? So it is a part of that, that is a source, and you can say resource. Next after that, resource slash org id. So org id is here, this is nothing but a URI parameter, guys. So we discussed clearly what are the difference between query parameters and URI parameters. So these are URI parameters, whatever you are mentioning org id, so that is secured by two things. One is basic authentication, another one is secured, guys. Here we pass the one more OAuth authentication also. I will show you where we mentioned that OAuth authentication thing. So there is a org under, and then we are passing one more URI parameter for our organization. Uh, I mean the trust call. So this is the description of that parameter actually. Whatever you are passing that parameter, right? That is a dynamic parameter. You are passing that. What was the use of that? I mentioned in the description. This is the service for get organization based on the organization ID. So here is my agenda is I want to fetch the list of organization uh, of the particular thing actually, whatever it is, it's a company or else something else. So I'm trying to fetch the list of organization under that company. So right, so that should be secure. And again, next one is URI parameter. If you see here, whatever you are passing, right, we are telling about that exactly what it is there. So whatever you are writing here, this is exposed to who are consuming our service, right? If you are writing each and every tag clearly with the description, whoever consuming our service, they can easily understand, guys, based on your description. Suppose you are not mentioned this org ID is what exactly, why you are using org ID. So he can't able to understand actually why he is sending org ID. Because from their end, in place of org ID, some other field name might be changed, right? Whatever you are expecting, that is nothing but org ID. We are telling clearly the unique ID is assigned to the configuration item. So there is a description of that. Suppose in their end, whoever consuming our service, in place of org ID, same functionality, but in place of org ID, there might be some other company ID is there, right? So that is a field name might be different, right? So that's why if you keep it a proper description, he can able to understand. In place of that, he can easily understand. He can keep it there. Okay. So that is about the first org slash org ID. Org ID is a URI parameter here. So next one is here. So coming to methods actually. So this is here. I'm trying to expose a get method. Okay. In the get method, first part is header, guys. So this is a header. So tag under here. See guys, clearly, just whenever you click Control Spacebar, it will show clearly. So these are two parts here. So content type, heading, something like that. While writing, it will show you clearly. So try to. Next one is here one of the header is underscore x authorization, guys. So here in place of underscore x authorization, right, we are expecting header from the user. We are expecting header from the user. Here the description of header also I mentioned here. So that identifier for the user who posts the new organization, right? Or else who gets the new organization. So means here this whatever you are writing, that this service not only for one client, guys, this is for multiple clients, right? So we are built in a generic way, right? Suppose now there is a persona portal. So one of the portal is there with the name of persona. So they are trying to hit with the request. They have some client ID, secret ID. They are trying to hit it. So tomorrow one more client will come. So there is a high row, something. So many clients are there. So they are trying to hit that request. They have different IDs, right? So like that, each and every portal, each and every client have different authorization there. Means authorization ID is different actually. That's what here I'm trying to say. So here, what was the type of that underscore X authorization, right? So type is string, required is true, guys. Means whenever you keep it a required true, that is a mandatory field. So you can see clearly console, there is a star symbol will get there. So it should mandatory. When you keep it a required equal true, here even here, whatever you're passing URI parameter also, that parameter also mandatory. Okay, if you not mention required false, that is optional. If you enter, not enter, so it won't matter. If it will enter, then it will take, or else it won't take. So next one is this is the X authorization clearly. So is a string, then required true. I just give you an example also, guys. Mean this underscore X authorization means we are passing one token, guys. So generally, I will give high level how it will happen in the real time for these things. Suppose we are I mean we implemented a service, so based on some authentication thing, right? So there is a OAuth, OUTH. So how this will work, so there is a suppose I'm trying to hit the Salesforce, right? First we have to get the token, guys. First we have to get the token. So for us, each client they will share, there is a client ID, secret ID, guys. When you create a connected app, if you people are aware about Salesforce, when you create a connected app, there is a concept in the connected app under a CRM application, that is a Salesforce. If we create one connected app, so then we'll get client ID value, then secret ID value, means client key, secret key, you can say. So these values getting from the Salesforce, whatever the target system is there, we'll get that details. Okay. So then based on that client ID plus secret ID, we'll try to hit Salesforce again. Okay, so we'll try to hit Salesforce here. Whenever you are trying to hit it, so Salesforce expecting authorization also, because some other unknown clients will hit it. We won't provide the information, right? Whoever secure, then whoever authenticated, these they can only hit our services. That's why these SMDC people, means sales overalls, so many systems are there, guys. ForgeRock, there is one more, it's kind of authentication related things. Foreshock, so they will hit client ID, secret ID, whoever consuming our service. So they will get the token ID, guys. Token ID, access token, you can say. Access token will get it. Okay. So with that access token ID, suppose some value 1 we are getting in the form of something. So value 1 they are getting. With that access token ID, they will try it, guys. Here header means nothing but that one only. Before hitting our mule service, they will get the access token from the Salesforce. With that access token, they are sending in the form of header to hit mule service. You are getting, guys. So that is about that. While even this access token have, it is look like this. I just kept example also. These are standard format of access token. So this is a standard form of access token. It's a token type is bearer. Next one is space. After that, this is a token getting from the before hitting, right? Before hitting our mule service, they will hit to Salesforce, they will get the token. So with that token, so they will try to hit our service once again to get the information. Okay, so this is look like this, the access token is look like this. Okay, so here if you see here, okay, this is a mandatory field, guys. This is a mandatory field. That is the thing actually. Whenever you are there, they want to try to hit our service, they should pass access token. After that, there is a query parameter. We are expecting some other query parameters also, not only that authentication thing. So next one is we are passing a, I mean we are expecting a transaction ID also. What is the use of the transaction ID? Just mention clearly what was the description of that, what was the type of that, is it required a true or false, I mentioned here. Similarly, one more thing, there is we are expecting sender and then client and then that's it. We are expecting four things we are expecting, guys. One is header we are expecting, that is nothing but a key. Nothing, that is nothing but a key, and that is nothing but access token. So then next one is transaction ID you are expecting, because why you are maintaining here transaction ID. So each transaction has some unique ID. So that's why we are maintaining transaction ID. So next one is sender. Who is the sender? Who is the client? Right? So there is a sender. Who is the sender? Next one is who is the client, who is consuming, whom they are trying to get the response. That is nothing but a sender. Once they will hit our mule service, everything is fine. So whatever they are sending this auth token means token access token, then client ID, secret means the client sender transaction ID, then we should allow, right? Because here, one more thing guys, here whenever they will get the token, these have some expiration date also there actually. They should not lifelong valid, so they will send a clear expiration date. They will give some 3 seconds or else 4 seconds based on their requirement. So 4 seconds, 5 seconds. Once he is unable to use that, if he didn't use this within a 5 seconds or 4 seconds, right? So that got expired actually. So when he tried without that, without that, if it is expired with that token, if you try it again, we will get back, boss, that is already expired. You have to get one more token. So such type of things will give it actually. Okay. So here once they will hit successfully everything with if it is a valid, which if it is not expired, then if it is a valid, then we are giving clearly 200 message guys, and the 200 body, how we are giving application slash json, whatever you are sending a body, that is nothing but application slash json. In this example is get org output json. Get org output JSON means I just keep it an example also for documentation purpose guys. I was saying clearly what was the purpose of the RAML. Two things, we are validating the things and then we are giving the documentation also. So whoever consuming our services, right, they should understand actually what was the format of input, what was the schema of that. In the schema we'll keep it a that validations and all I will show you now. So first here whenever we'll get that success response, right, I'm trying to show the example to the consumer like this. I just keep the example here. So where it is that example guys, observe here, when I create a RAML here, so we can keep it multiple folders here. So where I keep it this thing under examples, get org output JSON. So this is a thing, just I'm clicking, enable left side thing. So if you see here, we can keep it multiple folders. We can refer that one actually. I just expand that examples. In this example, error message output JSON, get org output JSON. Ours is get org output JSON. I'm trying to open that get org output JSON. So this is the output I'm expecting from the response guys, means from the target system. If user hit successfully, we'll get this response actually. We'll get a status code 200, we'll get a status message success, error code success, error message empty, transaction ID, timestamp, then it is the data actually. Name of company, so many things are there. We are getting as a application slash JSON, right? So this is a big JSON we are getting from the response from the target system. So that's what we are mentioning here. See, where is that example? This file slash example slash get org output JSON. So how we'll refer in the RAML here? So see how we are referring here. So just not include. You have to mention like this. Example is the tag guys. If you observe here below clearly, each and every tag I'm showing clearly. Docs example. If you select it, it will come and place automatically. No need to type also. Okay, so here example not include, so that symbol and we have to keep it include. So this path we have to mention actually. So where is the path? Example slash that file name. Okay, similarly schema name. So this is the example guys, that is the output we can see in the form of that response, in the form of that. So schema, what was the use of schema here? We'll try to expand that schema also. So what was the name of that? Get org output JSON. So when I get a output, right? So in the schema, what I was saying, so whatever you are getting that output, right? So we are restricting. These are the mandatory fields we should come from the output. So response. That's what I'm mentioning here. So if you observe the example of this, so many fields are we are getting. Suppose we are getting 100 fields, think like this. But so in the 100 fields, some 50 fields are mandatory, 50 fields are optional, right? That we have to mention in the schema file itself. If you open the schema file, here clearly I was saying what was the each and every parameter, is that mandatory or not, I was clearly mentioned here. These are syntax guys. First, up to here it's a common for every schema. After that, these are all the properties actually. What are the properties? What are the variables? What are the fields we are expecting from the response? I was mentioning here each and everything. What was the type of that? So what was the, I mean, is it minimum occurrence, maximum occurrence? So is it field is mandatory or not? That type of things are clearly mentioned here. First one is status code, guys. The status code in the description is HTTP status code. Next one is type is an integer. ID as it is we have to pass it, guys. So next one is status message. Like that, whatever the parameters we have to mention, all parameters we have to pass like this. What was the type it is? What was the if you see here date format, observe here, guys. Here one more tag is extra is there. So timestamp. Timestamp I was expecting as a timestamp. You can keep it a format also. Date and time. Okay, that's what I think here. Like this, in the bottom I mentioned clearly mandatory fields, guys. So required, what are the required is one of the tag here in the schema. What are the required fields I was mentioning clearly. So status code, status message, transaction ID, timestamp, org ID, org name. So these fields are the mandatory, guys. Out of all the fields, below fields are the mandatory fields. This is a tag under schema mentioned clearly. So tomorrow people add one more field, want to add some more fields, you can simply add there actually. So until now, any question, guys?
No.
Okay, great. So this is the schema. So here I written schema for output only, guys. Similarly, you can write a schema for input also. Suppose we are getting a payload from the user, right? In this case, I'm not getting any data from the payload, but I was expecting only query parameters and then header actually. You can hit the information because in this case, this is a get, guys. This is not post. If it is a post, right, this is a get actually. If it is a post, we will get the data from the client also. So that time what we need to do, so here we will write input schema restriction also. This I mentioned only output schema restriction. You can keep it input schema restriction also. Suppose if you are getting any error, right, so I written also clearly what if you are getting error, what you want to show to the client. So this is the thing, error code you have to show that error message, that is a sample. So here I mentioned the schema also. Even for error also I written the schema. Error code is mandatory, error message is mandatory. This is the example of the error message, right? Anything goes wrong, right, after hitting the target system, we have to show that error message, right? Error code and error message. If it is error code like 500 or else 501, 503 like that, right? So that error code you have to capture, then error message, detail error, exactly what happened that. So suppose server is down or else something user not have access to hit the Salesforce. So that type of things we have to keep it in a detailed error, guys. So there's two things, right? So mandatory. So that mandatory things we have to keep it as schema. Under the schema we have to mention actually. See here, I mentioned the two parameters. One is error code and the one is error message here. So clearly I was saying like what was the description of that, what was the type of that, and then what was the required field, right? So two mandatory fields when I get an error. So whenever we get an error, so our from mule side we should send response in the form of application, right? So same thing I mentioned here in the RAML. If you observe here in the RAML, so if you get a 200, then this is an example. User can, I mean whoever consuming our service, then can able to understand. So this is an example, guys. But whenever hit the request, we'll get the dynamic response from the target system. But this is for documentation purpose we kept it. So then see schema is this. If it is a, if we are getting a 400, right? So that is nothing but this is an example here. If you are getting a 400, so that should be in the form of application JSON we have to return, and then example is this, and then schema is this. Okay, hope you understand this is a way to return, guys, whatever it is, whatever the RAML you are getting, whatever the requirement it is, there is a post method, get method, then put method, so then delete method, whatever it is, similar same thing actually. Just you have to write the first these things, then we have to export this Then while creating a project, we have to show this RAML. Whenever I was showing yesterday itself, so how to create a project using RAML kit, RAML this thing, right? So that is the thing. So here we'll check here. So is this working or not? So they will provide the facility mocking service, guys. If people are aware of what is meant by mocking and all, so I just click a mocking. So what happened here, it will, we can mock it actually, we can check it actually, is that service is working or not, right? We can't keep it directly into the project, so then again we will face the problems there, right? So before that, is that whatever you written, is that correct or not, we can check here itself actually. Okay, okay, so here is the thing actually. So resources are okay. I'm trying to one method only I was trying to expose. So here clearly written, guys, wherever you description written, right? So the description also you can see here. I'm trying to hit the get. Let's see what other things will get it. You can click the try it, means I'm trying to hit the request here itself. Observe here, guys, two things we mentioned. One is basic authentication. So because we mentioned that there in the RAML, right? That's why we are getting. In the top level, we mentioned clearly basic authentication, right? Security schemes, that is a basic authentication. Because of this tag, we are getting this basic authentication. Okay, in the basic authentication, we have to pass username and password, guys. Maybe I tried previously, username and password got stored. So that is a username and password. So next one is what we are expecting. So that is get it right. So and one more thing we are expecting, that is nothing but a org ID, guys. If you see here, so this is nothing but, I told you it's a dynamic, right? So see, whenever you enter, right, let's keep on adding. It's nothing but a URI parameter, guys. We are expecting org/org ID, right? If you see here, first in the here, can you see my screen, right? Black screen slash org, that is nothing but a resource name, guys. After that, org ID is a URI parameter. Whenever we are trying to enter, so that is coming there. Okay, so that is a mandatory field, guys. If you see clearly in the console, I mean this mocking service, it was saying clearly required field. If you are not giving, it won't hit the service, right? It's a required field. You just pass that ID is a 10, means org ID is a 10. After that, what we are expecting, next one is we are expecting underscore X authorization is the header, guys. So that header we are passing here. So what was that header? So I told you clearly. So before that, they will hit one more service. They will get the token. That token we have to pass it. Right? So that token is look like this. I just kept a sample example. Okay. So that is also mandatory field, guys. Like wherever that star symbol will look like this, red star, red star. So then that is a mandatory field. So that is example I was passing directly here. That's why it is appearing there. So generally we have to pass it. We have to first you have to get that. So then you have to pass it. Okay. So next one is query parameters. We have to pass some query parameters like client is something like evo is the client. So next one is, I'm sorry here, guys. If we hear sender, so in our RAML case, sender is nothing but a enum type. So description is the type string and required is true, guys. In that we mentioned a enum. Enum means it's combination of weekdays, month names, like that we'll get it actually. There is a keyword in Java, if you, a similar type of names you can keep it under enum. So here also we are expecting this value. We are going to fix the values actually. We are not allowing to enter the user. We are fixing. So boss, that means we'll get a drop down here. So he will choose one of the value under the enum, right? So that's what we are providing here. That is nothing but enum. That's why here, so directly coming, so there is a drop down symbol, will get it. So here only one value is done under the enum. So that is given example, that's why it's directly coming here. So generally, so it will, if it is a multiple values, it will come as a drop down, and the drop down one of the value will choose a user. So next one is transaction ID. I just pass 123 in my transaction ID. Okay. So that is the thing, guys. Whatever he was expecting, I was passing all these things. First basic authentication I am passing. After that URI parameter he was expecting. Next one is header he was expecting. Underscore X authorization is the header. So next one is client sender transaction ID. these are the parameters he was expecting, right? So just get let's see guys, we are getting a 200 status code. See this is a URL, this is a request URL, right? That request URL, based on this request URL, user, whoever consuming our service, he can able to understand how we need to pass exactly all the things, right? If you see here, 10 is here URI parameter, remaining all query parameters, right? And then authorization is basic authorization, underscore X authorization, that is auth authentication, right? So next one is the 200 status code. The response came with the 200 status code. If you see here, the response came here, right? Body. From where we'll get it? Wherever you mention that example, right? From there we are picking that response. Understood, guys? So from there we are getting this response. Generally in real time, what it will happen? It will hit to the target, but we have to write the code further. I will show you where we need to write the code, where we have to extend the flow. I will show you. So generally where we'll get it? So this is for documentation purpose. I will keep it get targ output JSON. It will pick it up from there. It was showing actually. Where is this arrow symbol got closed? We'll try to open once again, guys. The arrow symbol got closed. Okay, so here is the thing, guys. Whenever you hit it, right? So that response coming here. Edit. Okay, so get try it. And that we have to pass all the information. I'll just pause 1 second. Where we have to pass it. Client is view. Center is view cloud. And passing test. Connection. Okay. See this, guys, this is the thing actually. Problem is here, whenever you choose the mock service, this old base URI got changed actually. Whatever our existing base URI should comment actually, that is not happening. That's what the problem. If we see here, this is the example, guys. We get like this example when you try to get that request. Okay, this is the response we are getting. Because I clear, right? So based on this, consumer can able to hit the request. Based on this, we are expecting the request URL and all. Okay, once this is done, what we need to do? So I just mark off, mark off. Once this is done, what we need to do? So we have to export it, guys. This one, there is a symbol we'll get for export option. We have to export this. Go here, one step back, API administration. So we'll get a download option here. This is my API. So there is a download as a zip file, you'll get it. So just try to download. Previously I was showing directly through API manager, right? So while creating a project I was referring through API manager, but now I am downloading it. Then from the download thing I'm taking, then I will create a new project. So then how to create a mule project with API kit. Okay, so then I'm trying to create a new project here. File, new. So then mule project. RAML session. Okay, so here is the guys. There is a option called add API kit components. Add API kit components. Choose this add API kit components. Here is we'll get two options. One is anypoint platform, another one is browse files, right? Anypoint platform, yesterday I was showing you clearly what we'll need to do for anypoint platform. If you click it, it will ask that anypoint platform credentials. It will take directly from the anypoint platform, right? It will take from here itself. So mine is 3 APIs I created directly. It will take from the API. But in this case, I don't want to through any point platform. So there is a browse files. We already download that content, right? Don't unzip it anywhere. Don't unzip it. So that is directly you can export as a zip content. I just show that zip content, guys. R-v1. That is which download just now. Okay. Click next. Next. So we are trying to create a project using our RAML, whatever we created just now, right? So if you observe here, so then whole flows got created, guys. So whatever the flow it is by default, see here, it got created. So here two things will create: API kit router, then API kit console. I will tell you the difference: API kit router and API kit console. After that, by default, it will generate the flows also, guys. If you here, if you see here, so get arg/arg edit. So that was the flow we are expecting, right? So basic flow got generated. In the basic flow, observe here, wherever you kept a sample, that example, that was storing here. So here is the thing, we need to expand our logic actually, right? We need to expand, we need to implement this actually. Basic flow got generated based on our RAML kit, okay? Then we have to extend our logic here. Means we need to keep it some components according to our logic, we need to extend this, right? I will just try to deploy this, run as mail application. Okay, observe here guys, API console. So previously we are not getting this API console, right? So previously we are not getting this API console, right? Because of that API kit only we are getting this actually. I will try to show in browser so clearly. Is the URL actually, you can copy this URL, you can open this in the browser itself. I will try to open on browser. Okay, so these are the thing, guys. Generally we'll share this URL to client, whoever writing the implementation from client, right? we were working on that implementation, client-side implementation, will share this URL. So based on that, you can able to understand, guys. So how we are expecting URL. If you click here, get. So clearly you can able to understand actually what type of authentication you are expecting, what is the username, password we need to share to that guy, and then here is the thing actually, or guide you need to pass it. That is the URI parameter. Next one is an authorization. So X authorization, we are expecting that authorization he need to get from the target system first before hitting our service. He need to hit somewhere else, that is a proxy layer. He will get from the access token. That token we have to pass here. That token. So next one is query parameters. You need to pass it. Next one is sender and again transaction. Suppose I'm trying to pass test one here. See here, these are all the mandatory fields, guys. If you're not passing here, it will highlight it actually like that required. Okay, so that is what I'm trying to hit it. See here, clearly it was showing the example action. So I didn't done any code, right, logic. So but this we mentioned in the example, right, that will pick it up and display it. So based on this, the client who are implementing the part, right, he can able to understand actually how output we can able to get it. Is there any changes, he will let us know, or else while business requirement that time, right, clarification in sprint planning. So based on that, we are creating an example, so then we are sent back to them. Here is the thing. If you see the left side, right? If you get a 200, we are getting like this. If you get a 400, we are getting like this. Because it is nothing but a documentation. Whatever you prepare the RAML, right? Accordingly, here it will behave actually. So show schema. But schema also can see here actually. Observe here. Previously, you might be not able to see that much. So here is a clearly visible that schema and then ID and then object. In that, if it is an error, we are getting error code and that error message. If it is a success, now we are in a 400. So now click 200. So the 200, we are getting that response. So you can see the schema also, show schema. Okay. So this is the RAML console based on that. So if you clearly mention all these things, so client will understand clearly. So that's what the thing, guys. So any questions as of now? Guys, any questions?
Yeah, yeah, good one.
Okay, so thank you. Okay, so that's what the RAML session. So if you have any questions, just go through the videos first. If you have any questions, we'll discuss once again. Okay, so that's what about the RAML session. So next session we'll discuss about uh, exception handling and database, guys. First we'll discuss the database, and after that exception handling tomorrow. So that's what the agenda tomorrow. Okay, if we don't have any questions, we'll wind up the session, guys, today. Okay, so thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Dharma, you have any question?
No, I'll just go through these
Yeah,
both the videos and
yeah.
tomorrow, if there are any, I will
ठीक
let you know tomorrow.
ठीक ठीक है, fine. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, guys.